In his novel 1984, George Orwell once told the tale of a totalitarian government that treated individuality as an atrocious crime. This government limited free speech through language itself. Their language was designed to limit dissent and freedom. And their plan makes sense after all, because the best way to limit liberty is to take away our ability to express and communicate our most important independent ideas through free speech. Unfortunately, many of the same problems that Orwell warned about are present in our society today because of the political correctness culture. While I believe that political correctness advocates are certainly well intentioned, political correctness has gone too far, especially on college campuses, because it limits our rights guaranteed in the Constitution, because open discourse and free discourse is very important to our society, and because there's no social benefit coming from political correctness. Now, to expand on these three ideas, starting with the first point about constitutional rights. The First Amendment guarantees the right to free speech, and the courts have upheld consistently that restricting free speech requires a test of strict scrutiny. Strict scrutiny is the doctrine that states that these restrictions are only justified if they are to do so to further a compelling government interest in a narrowly tailored way. Political correctness is not something that meets the strict scrutiny standard. For example, the 1977 Supreme Court case, the National Socialist Party of America v. the Village of Skokie, found that simply having offensive speech is not worthy of having that speech restricted. There needs to be more with that speech that actually causes the speech to be justified for restriction besides just being offensive. In other words, political correctness, or seeking to restrict speech because it offends you, does not pass the strict scrutiny test and therefore is not constitutionally justified. So we can see that strict scrutiny must be applied here because it protects our dearest individual rights. And to apply this to a more recent example on college campuses, look towards the fact that the University of California system recently classified the phrase America is the land of opportunity as an offensive phrase worthy of censorship. The problem with this is that restricting this phrase would not pass the strict scrutiny standard and therefore would be constitutionally unjustified. So, because the political correctness movement has gone too far by stomping on our individual rights protected by the First Amendment and by embarrassing our founding fathers, this PC movement should no longer be supported because it has gone too far. Now, my second main point is that there is extensive social benefit arising from free, open discourse. In his book On Liberty, John Stuart Mill once articulated a passionate defense of free speech, which many people commonly call the marketplace of ideas. The marketplace of ideas is the notion that the best ideas arise when there's as free and as open discourse as possible. This is because of democracy itself. Democracy enables us as a society to have a candid discussion of competing ideas and weighing these ideas together to find the best results and the best ideas possible. If we prematurely limit some ideas from this marketplace through political correctness, we have no guarantee of the best ideas arising. And as established in the 1969 Supreme Court case Brandenburg v. Ohio, the marketplace of ideas is the foundational guiding principle of U.S. free speech laws. Therefore, this is a part that we've incorporated into our Constitution that we should always uphold because it's what leads to the best ideas possible. So, political correctness has gone too far because it limits the ideas from being free and open in the marketplace of ideas, which it gives us no guarantee of social benefit arising and no guarantee of the truth. But it does guarantee a strict restriction of our constitutional rights. And for that reason, we should no longer support the PC movement because it has gone too far. Now, my third and final point is that political correctness has no social benefit arising. First, in education, colleges and universities are not meant to be a safe space. Rather, they're places where people can be enlightened and educated, and that may require crazy and offensive ideas in some cases, even if just to have open discourse. So, if we were to have political correctness and thus restrict ideas that may be offensive, we'd be doing so at the expense of education, which would not support the goal of the university and lead to worse education in the long term. Also, a common defense of political correctness is that it helps emotional well being, but this is not the case. According to The Atlantic in a September 2015 article, political correctness actually leads to severe, damaging emotional and psychological consequences, because simply limiting a problem by trying to restrict it or censor it does not solve the problem itself. So, political correctness is not the best way to psychologically deal with your problems, which means it does not protect emotional well being. So, as George Orwell once warned us, if we restrict free speech, we are moving one step closer as a society to tyranny. We should not do that. We should recognize that political correctness limits free speech by stomping on our constitutional rights, by restricting beneficial open discourse, and it leads to no social benefit.